No, he can't. He won't. Case closed. In all sincerity, let's go over the easiest route Jake Paul can take to obtain a Cruiserweight world title, and if he can actually achieve that goal. I know it's apparently a slow news week, not much is happening until July for boxing at least. This is what I have to work with here, talking about if Jake Paul can become champion, for fuck's sake. With that said, please make sure to subscribe for more boxing and MMA coverage. Every single day, new videos are posted, and I'd love for you to be a part of the journey. Before I kick things off, I did want to mention the current skills of Jake Paul. For only being a full-time boxer for the last 5 years or so, fighting retired MMA guys and aged out boxers mostly, he's as good as he can be. He has all the time and resources in the world to train and get better at boxing, but you're only as good as your opponents, in terms of resume, but also improving your skill sets. From the Nate Diaz fight I'd say to now, Jake looks like he's plateaued with each performance. And I believe this is partly due to his team not picking tougher challenges for him to fight. If he kept on fighting boxers around Tommy Fury's level, Jake would eventually adjust and get way better over time just because he has to, he's forced to. When boxing the likes of Nate Diaz, Ryan Borland, Mike Perry, and an old man Mike Tyson, however, Jake looks like he's coasting and not on full alert. That's not how you improve as a fighter under the lights, live on pay-per-view. If he has any championship aspirations, his team has to find stronger opponents because that will no doubt improve his skills, giving him some proper ring time with live dogs. Of course, he can't win a world title because he started boxing too late. There are very few exceptions where boxers who pick up a pair of gloves for the first time later on in life become world champions. Deontay Wilder comes to mind, but at the same time he was blessed with the gift from God, the great equalizer with his right hand power to help him out. Even with the best training and nutrition, Jake Paul doesn't have a chance to win a world title because of his age when he started training in the sports. Jake is in the Cruiserweight division, so let's take a look at the current landscape. Jairo Pitaya, Zota Ramirez, and Badou Jack are the current champions that hold all the major titles in the weight class. Jairo Pitaya is one of the best cruiserweights I've ever seen, and it's laughable to even put him in the same conversation as Jake. I won't disrespect the man. He's Australian, I'm Australian, I won't do that to Jai. I mean, Jairo Pitaya said it best, I wouldn't box him, I'd fucking bash him. Enough said. Zota Ramirez is another solid boxer, obviously he's a world champion, but I don't rate his skills as much as Jai's and think he's a bit overrated by the boxing community. However, his style works and has netted him a world title, so what the fuck do I know? Zoto's fighting style reminds me of Zhang from the heavyweight division. He plods forward and just swings, without much head movement or defense whatsoever. It's an effective style that works for him specifically, and of course I think it's too much for Jake Paul. He's a world champion. If Jake had to fight a cruiserweight champion, his best bet would be taking on Badou Jack, who currently holds the WBC belts. Badou actually won it on the Jake Paul vs Tommy Fury undercard. Now that I'm thinking about that event, the WBC and Saudi even created a bullshit belt for that Jake vs Tommy fight, and Jake couldn't even win that title. Anyway, Badou Jack is 41 years old and in the twilight years of his career. Ideally, he probably wants to rack up 1 or 2 more title defenses with the WBC and then call it a day. Although he won his last fight, I wouldn't say he looked particularly great, and his age is definitely starting to show. Jake loves fighting older men, so is there a chance that he can take out Badou? Again, absolutely not. I mean, I guess he has a puncher's chance, like 1%, but even with Badou Jack being 41, their skills are not comparable. 41 is old for a boxer, but not old enough for Jake to capitalize on. For reference, Anderson Silva was about 47 when he fought Jake Paul in 2022, and that was a pretty competitive fight. Anderson is a fucking retired MMA fighter from the weight class below. not a WBC champion in the Cruiserweight division. It goes without saying, but w.a.d.e would beat Jake Paul. So Jake won't be able to beat any of the world champions at Cruiserweights, obviously. But is there anyone decent he can beat? Cruiserweight is a fairly shallow division compared to the other 50,000 weight classes it feels like in the sport. Also, a good amount of the boxers that make up the top 50 to 100 cruiserweights are on the older side. They're tough as fuck and know how to keep on coming, but they aren't world beaters who are brimming with talent either. I'd like to believe that Jake can defeat some of these guys at least. Like, if you look at Vidal Riley or Jairo Pataya's resume, I'd favor Jake in a fight with quite a few of their early opponents. I'd favor him and would like to believe Jake would do well, like I said, but we can't say for certain. And this circles back to my first point I made in the video. There are so many question marks surrounding Jake Paul's actual ability because he doesn't go out of his way to put his career on the line and fight comparable opponents. He's only faced one active age-appropriate cruiserweight in Tommy Fury, who probably wouldn't be able to win an English title, and Jake lost nearly every single round. However, that's one decent age-appropriate boxer, and maybe Tommy is just a bad matchup for Jake. Maybe Jake would be more effective against another active cruiserweight. We just don't know. And that's part of the reason why everyone is fed up and tired of Jake Paul's career. It's obvious that Jake's world champion aspirations are simply a grift, nothing more than that. But even if they weren't, and he earnestly wants to progress up the rankings, these bullshit proposed fights with Gervonta Davis, for example, won't do anything to assist. It's as simple as that. What do you think about Jake Paul's overall skill set and potential in the sport? Just like Tommy, I feel like he's maybe area title level. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you down the road.